So, Rychele, you did my first style cohort in the Inside Out style course. And I was so pumped to have you in that course. And I kind of want to touch on first where you were before the course was going on. Like, were there things in your personal life that were happening? Were there things in your closet where you just like really felt like there was a struggle? Like, kind of paint a picture of where you came into the course.
I think I was in a place where I had felt kind of stagnant. I think I was struggling a lot at work. That was pretty obvious. And I felt like there was a change that needed to happen, but I wasn't sure where to start or where that change even needed to like be focused on in my life.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what choices to make. I felt very like both stagnant and paralyzed, which is a very bad combination.
Oh, yeah, we don't love that.
No, no.
What's that?
Yeah, like recognizing that I needed to make a change, but not knowing how.
Mhm.
So when your offerings included the course, I was like, that sounds kind of fun. I always love self-exploration. And
Yeah.
it felt like a really fun way of exploring myself. And I trust you. So that was seemed just like a very good combination.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was in a place where my internal dialogue was often just like a constant debate back and forth.
Ooh.
Yeah. And looking back on it now, I get choked up because like I hadn't realized it in the moment, but I can reflect on it and be like, yeah, that was hard.
Yeah. I remember the phone conversation that we had right before you signed up. And I was just like, I relate so much to how you were feeling. It was like I saw myself 3 years back, maybe even 4 years back, 3 or 4 years back, where I was like, I felt so stuck in my life and I didn't know where the hell to start. So I like flipped it all upside down, which probably wasn't the healthiest answer at the time. And I wish I had had that, um, kind of that offer in front of me to like connect with people and to like reconnect with myself and what I needed instead of just like changing everything at once. Like it sent my nervous system into a tailspin. But like I wanted so badly for this to be the opportunity for you that I didn't give myself.
Mm.
And I was so stoked that I kind of found you in this place where I'm like, I know if she puts her trust in the community around her that like wants to see her do so many amazing things because that's who you are. And like, I love your energy so much. I was like, I need Rychele in this course because it felt like such a gut pull to have you there and for you to like accept that invitation. And I mean, we're going to get to like where you are now, but like to see that transformation was like truly one of the biggest like healing moments for me too. Um, I'm just so freaking proud of you. Like honestly, can't say that enough. But yeah, I want to thank you for answering that call today and listening to me talk at you for like 2 hours. I promise I don't do that for most discovery calls or anything, but Rychele and I have been connected for a long time since college. So it just felt
It was
so
needed.
it was so right for you to be in the course. So, on a less serious note, what were some of your favorite parts about being in the Inside Out style course?
Freaking everything. How could you even ask a question like that? How dare you?
You can pick certain parts if that feels too broad in general.
Yeah, no, it was such a beautiful combination of so many things. Bringing strangers together to bond and gas each other up and
Yeah,
offer new perspectives. That was super valuable. Just warm. Um,
cozy.
yeah, yeah. Like I said before, having the opportunity to do more self-exploration, but in a different light. That was really cool. I love that. Um, it was just like a lot of fun too. It
We
was
did
just
get really
so,
ridiculous on all of those calls.
yeah, it was. It was. And even if it was, going through our closets and realizing that we had weird things that we have hung on to for the past 20 years of life, or like Angelica the other day when she was like, yeah, I've had these pants since middle school. And we're like, excuse me?
They still fit her like a dream. I was like, ma'am, those jeans are perfect for you. And she's like, thanks, they're from 7th grade. I was like,
What is that? Magic. That's what it is.
it was magic. It was total magic. So you would say, actually, this kind of leads right into the next question. What did you think about learning your style in an intimate community, like kind of in that container? So for those of you who don't know, the style course is only open for 3 participants, and then me, who I basically participate through the entire thing too, but I'm kind of like the GPS, the navigation system of the course. How did you feel about that community dynamic, since style is such a personal thing?
Mm. It was vulnerable,
Mhm.
but there was never a time where I didn't feel held. Yeah. It always felt very open and supportive.
Mhm.
I never felt like there was weird judgment.
No.
So important in when you're talking about your body shape or things you've struggled with your image.
Hmm.
Like that goes deep. That's some programming we have, and we all have it.
I
Yeah.
think I think the craziest part too is like right after we ended the course, I was hearing some of that feedback from you guys, and I don't think I realized just how quickly I kind of like we had to jump into that really safe space really quickly, because the first thing we talk about in the course is inner parts, the inner voices that are going on in our head, the dialogues that are happening, the critic, the inner child that's feeling like a little oppressed and shoved down and like not listened to, the inner teen who's not feeling any respect or love. Like we got in deep so quickly, and it was such a cool thing to watch you guys, like you said earlier, go from strangers just to like knowing each other so intimately, but also holding such safe space for each other. Yeah, from a style perspective, so getting out of the feelings for a second, which is like exactly what I wanted to get into selfishly. But learning your style, like your objective style, the patterns that work for you, the textures and finishes, the silhouettes, the shapes. How did that feel learning in a community?
It was so cool to see the same thing that worked differently for each person.
Yeah.
Like something that worked for me did not necessarily look right on Jillian or Angelica or you.
Mhm.
Um, and it's so fascinating too how even something as superficial as a small little heart print, like that that thread, even though it's surface, oh, pun intended, the thread, um, even though it's so surface level, to connect it back with each of our style archetypes and our personalities and our different voices, like it's so cool to see how kind of like superficial things are actually rooted very, very deeply in who we are as people.
Yeah.
I like quirky little stupid things, and that's why it works for me.
Yeah.
But if I cover my body in it, then it's like, oh, that's like a little childish. She needs some edge. She needs some like crazy hair everywhere.
Mhm.
She needs some thumb holes.
Yeah, you need some thumbs.
Yeah.
I think it was really cool. I didn't even intend for it to happen, but it was really cool. All 3 of your archetypes, all 3 of the people that participated in the course all had the gamine archetype in common, but they all had very different flavors of gamine. And for me as a stylist, it was so cool to see all 3 of you side by side, different styles with, like you said earlier, like with the common thread through it, but that you're all going to do it differently.
Mhm.
Like you might all be able to wear a really quirky pattern, but you're going to edge it up, whereas Angelica is going to relax it down, whereas Jillian's gonna hit the like max volume button on it and make it louder. Like it was so cool. And then to be able to attach that not only to like our interpersonal selves, like logical reasons why the flavors of gamine were different, but then also like the physical, like we could point back to like, oh, well, Jillian has larger scale, rounder features. Of course, her flavor is going to be more romantic, or um, Angelica has a lot of like soft texture in her face, which of course translates to more texture in her look. And Rochelle's going to have more edge because she's got asymmetry and angles going on in her architecture. Like it was so cool to have all of that tangible stuff to point to so that you guys felt really empowered and really like solid in why something worked so well for you, or like why it didn't and why it totally celebrated the other person. Like that was so cool for me, like nerding out on style stuff. That was really, really cool for me.
Yeah.
And my hope is that that community environment kind of fostered that, because when I'm working one-on-one with people, it's great. I can get in deep with them, but I think it helps to like anchor some of that information more when you have the comparison without the comparison being like judgy. It's just like,
Mhm.
oh, here's what it is on its face objectively. Of course, that works for her, but not for me. Of course, that works for me, but not for her. Ugh, amazing. And of course, that works for all three of us, but we're going to do it in different ways.
Yeah.
Love, 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 love. Um, what did you learn about your style? And I know that's also a very broad question. So if you want to pick just a couple things, you do not need to cover the whole course.
What did I learn about my style?
Yeah.
This is gonna sound gushy as heck.
Hit me with the gush.
It was in here all along.
Yeah.
Good thing I have a tissue.
Oh no.
Yeah.
There were so many tears on our calls. I loved it. My romantic was like, yes, emotions are happening.
Cry more for me.
Cry more. Oh my God.
No, it's so true though. Like whether it was um historically, like when it comes to my style, there's a lot more edge in me than I had ever recognized before or that I felt shame around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I hadn't just like if I hadn't started welcoming that voice and like respecting it and acknowledging the power behind it and letting it manifest in my style, then I would still feel like really repressed and more lost.
For sure.
Cry for me.
Yeah, seriously, like yours was probably the most, because I resonated with where you were before you started the course so much. Your journey was so healing and so powerful for everybody to watch. Like it was so incredible to see you take your agency back and to see you like reclaim all of the magic that you have and like all of the fabulous chaos that you add to every situation, and the fun and the quirk and the mischief and the like there's such Rochelle has such a dynamic energy, guys, and it is so powerful to witness. And like, man, when she steps in and realizes it, you better watch out, or you better prepare yourself to have like the best freaking time ever.
I've
I
found
remember
that
our shopping trip, and I was like, I don't think anything will ever top the amount of fun I had in that shopping trip.
it was a good time.
Oh God, we were such weirdos. It's the best.
I love being weird. I it's still I'm still dumbfounded with how deeply unserious and how deeply serious I can be at the same time. It's such a weird combination. Like I'm a spaz, but like I like to get deep.
I think that permission piece is something that's really big around personal style in general. But there's something about having other people reflect it back to you to be like, oh yeah, I am allowed to be these seemingly like kind of contradictive things at the same time. Like no human is like this basic, like consistent, structured person that like never wavers one way or the other, or never has some moment of contradiction in who they are. It's like I think style helps us to like hold space for all of the seemingly contradictive things within ourselves to be true.
Yeah.
Because we can like bounce and flex between the different archetypes that like really represent who we are. And you can, like, you do get really deep. Like, you're such a safe healing space for so many people because you're so real, but also you're such a goof. But like, you added the fun and the quirk and the like, every time we busted out laughing, I felt like it was because of you. It was the best. So I'm glad that however we did it, I'm glad that we were able to help you see all of the stuff that's in here that we see like so clearly. And two of them were strangers that like had never met you and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's Rychele." They
The
got
one,
you so quickly.
the one time, Angelica and I were talking about something like wedgies or farts or something. I don't know. And Jillian was like, "Did you guys know each other before this?" Like, no, not at all.
Not even a little bit.
That said a lot. That said a lot about us
Uh-huh.
as people.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we had a whole discussion on bidets at one
You
point.
mean berets, beret bidet.
Beret, berets. Who was trying to say berets and then said bidet? See, I'm telling you.
Find the word.
Every time we lost it, we're like, oh, that bidet looks so good on her head. Oh my God. Meanwhile, I need to send you the beret is in my car ready to send to you. I just need to get your address.
Oh shoot.
I
Okay.
have not forgotten about that, by the way.
All right.
Um, Second follow-up question, which adds a little bit more gush to your previous answer. What did you learn about yourself? I mean, you touched on a little bit of this already, but if there's anything else you want to add.
It's okay to take up space, even if the way in which you do that is different from other people.
Yeah.
Also, just the general skills in how to navigate your wardrobe better. I feel like I keep on talking about the mushy gushy stuff, but when it comes to opening your closet and knowing how to navigate it and knowing what you want to feel that day, what you want to look like, what's going to work for what you're doing, like that takes so much, like as you say, it takes so much of the guesswork out.
Yeah.
So you're already like grounded in yourself. You know what you want, what you need. So there you already have the toolkit. So like you can tackle it.
I think that's so true. There's something so draining and exhausting. Like we don't even think about how much time. There's some weird statistic about like how many years when you add it all up, we spend like contemplating what outfit to wear. And it's like, man, if we could A, make that easier and B, make that more fun, why the heck wouldn't we? Like I
Yeah.
want to feel like I'm playing dress up every day. Like my inner child is like, excuse me, now that you have like money and a job and a car where you can like go shop, even if you don't have the money, like you can go look at these things and actually play dress up with like really cool stuff. Why are we not doing more of that? I was like, oh yeah, we should be. I'm going to do that with other people too. I think that's kind of how the course was born for me. I was like, when did it stop being fun to get dressed?
Yeah, it shouldn't have to feel daunting.
No, but like it's such a like fashion and the retail industry has become such a like complicated, overwhelming thing because there's so much out there that it's like, of course we need help navigating that. Like who in their right mind just like understands it all? But I think it's so cool that like style is a teachable, wearing your style is a teachable skill. Style, all that requires is a body and a personality. We've known that from the beginning. I think what the missing ingredient that I like to add to people's lives is the permission. It's like you've got the body and the personality. The style's already there. You haven't given yourself the permission to like live it and embody it and wear it and celebrate it. Like that's such a big part of style for me, is like it's a form of expression, but it's also a form of celebration to me, like honoring yourself and who you are.
Yeah.
Um,
The course was so special because you got to do that for other people and they did it for you all in one space.
yep, because would I own this sweater if it weren't for you? Nope.
You picked it out too, so give yourself credit.
I did pick it out, but Rychele, I have to tell you, I was like 2 seconds away from sending it back. I'm like, no, it doesn't look right, and it's blah, blah. And it's so much easier to be objective about each other's style. And like I tried this sweater on in Instagram stories and I got a DM from you and I got a DM from Jillian. And I think later on I got a DM from Angelica. All three of you guys that were in the course were like, excuse me, you're keeping that sweater. It looks amazing on you. Don't send that back. And I was like, you know what? Checking myself out in the mirror. I'm like, you know what? They're right. I'm gonna be objective about this. I look great and I felt so good in the sweater.
Staying straight.
Yeah. It's that inner critic voice. We like learn how to talk to her a little bit better. We're like, hey, I hear you, but in this instance, I think you're wrong. Get out. Anyway, last question. Where are you now that the course is over, and what have you taken with you? That was 2 questions. I lied. Hashtag romantic. Always doing the most.
What have I learned? What do I take with me?
Yeah, where are you now that the course is over, and what will you take with you?
I'm in a lot more of a grounded place within myself, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel much more self-assured and more unapologetic, I think. Just being myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, what have I taken from this course? Freaking everything. What haven't I covered?
I selfishly would love the people to know, not as a result of the course, but something that the course aided you in doing that you had kind of been
Oh.
feeling. Yeah,
Guys,
where are you now? And also talk about the presentation that you're about to give.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I quit my unhealthy job.
Let's just sit in that for a second.
Oh,
You
I've sat in
quit
that
a
so
job
much.
that
Oh
was
my God.
so unaligned.
Yeah.
That was like, I remember that call, like sitting on the call after everybody else had left, and you were like, okay, so I have to tell you something. And I was like, I am so beeping proud, because I want to say like the real swear word that I actually said. I know how hard that is to do. And can we reflect back on what you just said, like how you're feeling more grounded, even in a time where like on the surface, on paper, a lot of things are uncertain, but like you gave yourself that grounding feeling enough to trust that like whatever's out there, the right opportunities, they're coming because you are sure of yourself and you're unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
Rychele, that was it is massive that you did that for yourself. I will never stop saying how proud I am of you. I will never stop saying it.
Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
Yeah, yeah. It was a big step, and this course definitely, without a doubt, helped me to listen to myself more. Because so much of that internal debate that I was feeling beforehand was trying to convince myself that I needed to change in different ways, or that, adapting to that environment was what the key was, which was not true.
No.
Um, yeah, and so I just wasn't able to, like, I was surviving, I was not thriving. Um, so now that I am out of that environment, I am allowing myself, I've given myself permission. You guys have given me permission to embody myself in a way that I haven't, I think, in a long time, at least not consciously.
Yeah.
And I'm able to make decisions that are more um yeah, more me centric.
That like actually feel aligned and like good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know like that sounds selfish in a way, like I'm prioritizing me. But like when you do that, you are able to show up in your life in such a more real way that's so invaluable. Like you don't need to sacrifice yourself. You don't need to deprioritize yourself in your life. It's your life.
Yeah. And I feel like for me, actually putting the priority on me helped me create more space for other people and the right people and the people that I'm supposed to support and
Yeah.
supposed to help and supposed to learn from. And like when we don't give ourselves that space, it's hard to give other people like truly, it's hard to actually give people that space. Like superficially, sure, we're filling our void with other people, but I don't feel like we're actually in tune with them by like shrinking ourselves or taking up less space or deprioritizing ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And now you have plans to travel, right?
I do, yeah. I've been traveling, seeing friends. Um, and I was, yeah, asked to do a professional talk. So I'm currently in the process of developing that.
For the people listening that don't know what you do or what you did or like what your field is, what your field of interest is, what was your job and then what's the presentation that's happening?
I'm a professional grunge monkey.
Yeah, you are.
Um, my background is in horticulture, so I work with plants, gardening, ecosystems, fun stuff.
The coolest.
Always had my hands in the dirt for the past decade. Yeah. So it's a field that encompasses a lot. Like there are a lot of different facets in horticulture. And the talk that I'm currently developing for this conference is not so much plant centric, but people centric.
Oh,
And I'm still like in the early stages of it, like trying to really figure out the common theme throughout the entire thing without like getting lost in my sauce. But I want to talk about connectivity and kind of uplifting others, um, especially as a young horticulturist, how important that's been in developing my career so far,
yeah.
and how important that is for our industry as a whole moving forward, and what organizations can do to help support that.
I feel like we learned that from the plants too. Like life is all connected, right?
Yeah, dude.
I am not a green thumb. You know this about me. I texted you about that amaryllis. I'm like, did I kill it? You're like, no, it's hibernating. You're fine. It's hibernating again. Hopefully it'll bloom again.
You're just
Um,
sleeping.
she's just sleeping. But I think it like plants need a lot of support in order to thrive and to grow. And so do people. Like we need that connection. We benefit from one another.
Yeah.
Also badass that you got a speaking gig even while you're unemployed. Can we like clap that up? I told her earlier before we recorded the call, I was like, and the universe said, here you go. This is for you. And I'm super pumped for you to go to the Everglades. I think like when you said that, I was like, well, that is like the most aligned thing I've ever heard for Rychele. Like, go be out doing the things that you love, touching the grass, like being in the dirt and the grunge and feeling it.
Wrestling some alligators.
Oh my God, please don't die over there. I don't need you to wrestle any alligators.
No.
No, we'll just be touching the plants all nice like.
Avoiding mosquitoes.
Yeah, exactly. Walking around with a net all over you. Hey, mesh was with